Yes, sir. It's time for another Major League Baseball show right here with your boy DRS, having some fun and kicking it off. We got afternoon baseball today that we have to pay attention to. A game starting up at 1:10, also another game at 2:10, and another game at 2:20, and another game at 3:10, and one at 4:05 and 4:10. Then we get to the night card. I did write down some notes for this show because we got some doings here this early. There are some lineups that I'm a little bit disappointed in, but that doesn't mean we can't make some money off it or certainly handicap it appropriately. Yesterday, we always like to leave off 2-1 on straight team totals, lost an alt team total parlay yesterday, which wasn't the right call. It was like the best of the leftovers. Atlanta Braves scored 1 run, needed 4 out of the Dodgers. They only got 3 runs. And then also the Milwaukee Brewers. They did score their 3 runs, so that one was okay. But I did hit the team total for the Oakland/Sacramento Athletics. Took the extra innings to get that one on a 2-run home run by Langoliers. We thank him for that. Washington was a perfect pick right out of the gate. Smashed Kodai Senga just like I thought. But then we had one of the worst beats that you are going to have of the year, which is something I was really disappointed in. And again, the Royals seem to just be crushing me on an every couple day basis, where the total should be really easy to look at, and it's not hitting. We talked about the Marlins game early in the week, something I'd never seen before, where base hit the right field. Great. I'm going to win that bet. I don't know what the hell that the guy on third base was doing. Doesn't score a run. End up losing that game. Ridiculous fashion. But also last night, the Kansas City Royals. Another thing where, again, I've been gambling a long time. Handicapping a long time. Never seen that before. Team total 3.5. 3-run home run the first inning. Nobody out. Next batter up walks. So essentially, you have a full 9 innings and a runner on first base to get 1 run after you just got 3 runs. And you got no runs from the Kansas City Royals. It was pretty impressive how that went down. What's up, everybody out there in the chat box having some fun? It is an early day action. I'm excited and tepid about this card a little bit, and I'll explain that to you in just a few moments. Throwing in some statistics over the past, 45 days that we like to look at. Try to keep it around 20 innings pitched. So on the card today, 14 pitchers make that card. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, which means 18 total pitchers, but 14 of them are in that list because we just don't have enough statistics on a lot of guys. I wanted to just bang on Jose Urena right away and say, the Athletics have to be on my card. But now I look at the Athletics lineup here, and there's some things we have to, when we talk about bending the rules too. Kurtz looks great. Butler looks great. Rooker looks great. Soderstrom looks great. Hernandez, awful. Cortez, awful. McIver, awful. Brent Harris, average. He has no power, but has a decent weighted on base percentage. Max Schumann, awful. What's up, RP? What's going on? Francisco, Aaron, boys? Yep. So I start backtrack because, again, it's supposed to be a bullpen game. Because Jose Urena is bad, but even though Jose Urena's last start, which I think I had the Detroit Tigers, he was amazing in that game. Runners in scoring position, couldn't knock him in. He ends up, I don't even think he gave up an earned run, which is hilarious. So I sort of backed off a little bit on the Athletics. That's early. That's a 110 start, which is why we're getting into that right away. Let me just bring up my odds board, too, just to get a feel for the pricing as it's changing. Perkins, Urena, pick them across the board, 9.5. Like, runs are expected in this game. And sometimes I feel like I just want to get involved somehow, maybe an alt-team total parlay, because both of these teams should score 3 runs, to be honest. But that lineup is not what I'm looking for the Athletics to get like a team total, let's just say, to score 4 or 5 runs. It's just not. Can it happen? Absolutely. But when you take a look at like really good handicaps and the way they're supposed to play out on cards, was yesterday with the Washington Nationals. They set up phenomenally against Kodai Senga, and they blasted him. And by the way, first 2 innings, nothing really doing, jumped on him after that. It was the way it was supposed to go down. But as I look at this game, I'm starting to try to turn it over a little bit to the Minnesota side. Buxton, Larnach, Lee, Keyshaw, Royce Lewis, Outman, decent. But again, weighted on base percentage, only 2 positive in that lineup. You got more power numbers. Jack Perkins, by the way, I have him 6th on my card. He's got a high ERA, 5.27. His xFIP minus is a 97, which is decent. His xFIP number, 4.07, but his Sierra is a 3.84. Like, he's hanging around that where he should get hit today. But you are extending circumstances if you do want to take either one of these teams. And everybody out there knows, I like the A's too, but staying away. I hear you, Art. But I really like Kansas City. What's your thoughts, Donnie? Yeah, we're on the same wavelength on that, Art. I'll get to that game in just a moment because that's a 2-10 start. I think there's a little bit more appeal where it's like, okay, make everything make sense. if I had to add, like 9.5 is there for a reason. They just pinged that number out of a hat on that Athletics Minnesota game. But I just don't like the lineups the way they present themselves. But even having said that, like if you went, I'm just going to Twins and I'm just going to go Athletics, like each team total over 2.5 and parlay them together, they probably both get 3 runs today. They do. But is that more of you just want to fade a pitcher in an environment at that point? And everybody knows how goddamn squirrely some of these afternoon games can get. Like yesterday we talked about it, the Houston Astros. I'm like, I think they really should hit yesterday. I don't even get 5 to 6 runs, but 4 runs enough to get their team total. They got 2 runs by the 4th inning on a home run. They didn't score again. It's like, Jesus, man. Like Charlie Morton out here stunting at his old age. But those are the ones that throw me off just a little bit. And this game is giving me vibes that it should go over, but there's a lot of things not to like. Like, honestly, if it does go over, it's almost like, well, why don't you just take some RBI props? Kurtz, Butler, Rooker, and Soderstrom all have really good numbers. But you can't just have 4 guys with really good numbers and 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 just absolutely suck in your lineup, just based on the statistics. Uranus is a bad pitcher. We're not talking about going up against Tarek Skubal either, guys. But also, like, Uranus should have got blown away in his last start, and he didn't. Early start to the day, like 1:10 Eastern. Like, you're starting that game around like noon, right? After an extra innings game last night. There is some good power numbers on Minnesota. But Perkins does have okay statistics. Francisco took the A's money line. I hear you on that. But just crazy stuff as it's like, I don't know what to do. So it's terrible that I feel like I'm leaving money on the sideline with it at the Athletics in Minnesota, because if you just, hey, fire away and take a total, I get it. As I said, I think we get runs. I just don't have a pathway to, here's the handicap and the whys of they're going to get runs, as opposed to, I just think they can hit these pitchers. And that eventually gets you into trouble. You'll win some of those, you will. And you might even win today if you take those. But for me, I'm just trying to make that, straight, even path where everything makes sense and lines up in order. Like the team totals last night we had, they were on point, man. They really were. All you ask for, too, is, yes, you want to win bets. Like, yes, that is the goal at the end of the day. But also you want the hows and the whys of how you built up to that and why it made sense. The Royals was an easy one. Why? Did you look how many guys left on base with runners in scoring position, too? And they left us a run short? I'll take that. You know what ones that get on my nerves? It's like, hey, man, they only had 3 runners in scoring position. What did you want them to do? And only left 5 runners on base total for the game. Like, yeah, you're not supposed to win that. But when you have teams, and so even like Minnesota yesterday, Minnesota left like 15 dudes on base. It's crazy. Like 1 or 2 base hits here or there. Bases loaded all the time. Like, don't even get me started on Kansas City, because I end up just going on a tangent of how ridiculous that game was. But still, it's like, okay, you tuck your tail and move on and say that was the right handicap, it just didn't win. But you need the whys in there. Let's get to game number 2. Texas and Kansas City. Corbin versus Lorenzen. Totals listed at 9 across the board. Depending on where you're shopping at, it's like a minus 115 price, let's call it, both sides. The Kansas City Royals lineup today, well, first of all, let's start with Patrick Corbin. His last 45 days, a 102 xFIP minus, which isn't bad. It's just above average. 4.86 ERA, which isn't good. 4.25 xFIP number, which is elevated, but a 4.49 Sierra number. Now, the Sierra number also, guys, is the skill interactive ERA. Like, I've used that terminology before, but that's what it means. It means that underlying value of the pitcher, putting in the ballpark into the equation, and also some defense behind him. The worst pitcher on the card today is actually Lucas Giolito. He's got a 3.19 ERA over the past 45 days, but he's listed as the worst pitcher today if you put everything into the mix. But we'll get to that game. Texas and Kansas City. Positive batters for the Royals. Maikel Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, Randall Grichuk. India's got some decent power numbers. Luke Maley doesn't have a lot of statistics against lefties over the past month, but he's been okay. Same thing with Tyler Tolbert. It's not a perfect lineup, but to be honest, like, I just think Corbin is at that end of the season mission of, I did pretty well to start the season, and I'm really leaking oil now. That's where I have him at. 85-degree temperatures, which you like. Light wind blowing in from right field about 7 miles per hour. Shouldn't be all that bad or be all that effective here. But what can you get out of them? Like, I like that lineup. I think it looks pretty good. Let me see the Texas lineup. It has to be out by now. Let me just refresh my feed here. Then we can put some of those numbers into order as well. So we'll go current season, 30 days, get some splits. Texas's lineup is okay. First 5 guys in the lineup, decent power numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, it's not a great lineup. K percentage is low. You like that against Lorenzen. But Lorenzen doesn't have a lot to work with here. Current season, 442 batters. Last 30 days, only 17 batters. What are you going to get from that environment, right? What are you going to get from that? So for me, I do like Kansas City's offense, because another thing that you fold into it, right? Corbin's a left-handed pitcher, right, guys? So you say, all right, well, how about the right-handed side? How many batters are they going to have? Outside of Vinny Pasquantino, who's done very well over the past month against lefties, it's all right-handed batters. You look at the ISO against Patrick Corbin last 30 days, 239, elevated. If you look at the weighted on base percentage, 375, that's elevated. Also, when you take a look at the games last night and the night before, using a lot of bullpen in some of these closer games, which is great because that means they're going to be a little bit more tired, and we'll see who comes in there at this. Mixer says, after all was said and done, at the end of the day, I won $8. There you go, man, $8. Get your meal. Get your burrito. Get your Big Mac. Just plus money and move on. That's the name of the game. That's the plus money, move on game. That's what it is. But this Texas-Kansas City game, I do think makes some sense from Patrick Corbin's perspective. I still do think Michael Lorenzen does get beat up, but again, it's not, you can't just guess on that. And also the Kansas City hitters against left-handed pitching over the past month, it's very good in hard hit percentage. Garcia high, Witt high, Pasquantino high, Salvador Perez high, Grichuk high, India high, Lofton high, Luke Maile high. Even though some of those guys, like Luke Maile only has 6 at-bats, Nick Lofton only has 16 at-bats. The other guys have 20 or more in that range, and they are doing some damage at that point. Barrel rate's decent as well. So I do think Kansas City makes probably the most sense of all 4 of the teams in these first 2 games that we have, even though the Athletics in Minnesota, that's going to drive me nuts. But also if you understand from yesterday too, where I said, I think, and again, think is the key word, that the Houston Astros are going to score runs in that game, meaning enough to get at least 3 runs to hit an all-team total, maybe 4 runs to get their team total. They didn't do that. So it was a squirrely day to start yesterday, which again ended in a 2-1 team totals at night, which should have been 3-0. But at the same time, if you have that intuition of things aren't perfect, you sort of stay away from the game. And I didn't think things were perfect for Houston, even though I thought they should hit. Case in point, the Athletics and the Twins today, this afternoon. Milwaukee and Chicago. Wind blowing in again, guys. 6.5 is the total. It tells you everything you need to know. Priester, Imanaga, ground ball pitchers, ball staying in the yard. Don't love it all that much. Maybe the Cubs wake up today again and knock off the Milwaukee Brewers, and so on forth. Brewers lineup always looks good on a day-to-day basis. Shota Imanaga on my card here. Over his past 45 days, 3.54 ERA, 3.76 Sierra, 4.01 xFIP number. Not terrible numbers here. Also you look at, well, who's the favorite in the game? Well, Priester's not the favorite. He's getting like a plus 120 price on a minus 140 favorite. Los Angeles and Colorado. Clayton Kershaw's on the mound. Good-looking lineup here for the Rockies. But as we look at Clayton Kershaw, he doesn't have great statistics. 3 ERA over the past 45 days, which you do like. But a 4.59 Sierra and a 4.38 xFIP number. He probably should get hit. By the way, 94-degree temperatures in Colorado. How about Colorado smoking the Dodgers yesterday, too? Anybody else just penciling the Dodgers? They were going to score 5+ runs yesterday? Because that was really, that was really the vibe of it, to be honest. It was. They didn't do anything. Like, I even had them in an all-team total, which ended up losing anyway, not because of the Dodgers, but they only got 3 runs. They needed to get at least 4 runs in that game. Dodger bats don't look great, though. That's the issue. Like, Chase Dollander's on the mound. He's not a great pitcher. Young pitcher, struggles during his Major League Baseball season. He's at home. But power numbers, Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez. That's it. Will Smith, Freeman, and Teoscar Hernandez, good weighted on base percentages. Not expected in the lineup today, and I don't know if that lineup even came out yet, is Shohei Ohtani. Took a shot yesterday. Let's see here. That's I don't know. They're probably waiting at the last minute. There's Colorado Rockies lineup is out. But I don't show the Dodgers out yet. But Ohtani not supposed to be in the lineup. And the Dodgers aren't doing well right now, which would be interesting if the Padres could pick up another victory today and the Dodgers will stumble. But the Dodgers are major favorites today, man. 230, 240, 250 out here. It's pretty nuts. It is pretty nuts. So let's see what we got on this other side here. And also, let me see the breakdown. Who's in? Got 100 people watching live right now, mostly through X, which is always the way it is. A couple people through YouTube, Twitch. No Facebook, one Kick, which is probably this. I'm tired of streaming to 0. I don't even know who goes to Kick, but it gives you 5 options to broadcast from that we have. Yeah, by the way, Mixter, you're right on that. Hurston Waldrop does look really good for Atlanta. Really good. And also, it was surprising yesterday. I guess Atlanta won, which I wasn't surprised by, but they scored 1 run in a game where Martin Perez started. I mean, come on now. What kind of brutality is that? But not in love with that Colorado game. But to be honest, Colorado is a sneaky team total in this one. Really is, man. Like, I look at the lineup here. Freeman, Tovar, Beck, Bernabel, Doyle, Farmer. Low strikeout rate there. Hard hit contact rate good. Is that now? See, Kershaw's lines are pretty good. He doesn't strike anybody out, so that's why he gets dinged a little bit on the analytics market. Because he's coming in, his ERA minus is a 72. That's fantastic. His FIP minus is an 82. His xFIP minus is a 107, which keeps rising because he's not a strikeout pitcher. 3 ERA, 438 xFIP. Like, he's actually had some pretty good starts here. Let me see what Kershaw's done on the day-to-day here. Clayton. Game log. 6 innings, 1 earned, 6 innings, 1 earned, 6 innings, no earned. Look at that guy, man. Dealing. Holy moly, man. Dealing. Yeah, Francisco, that is going to be a big series coming up. Was a previous big series, too, which you had the 3-0 sweeps job by the Los Angeles Dodgers at that spot. But this is interesting, though. Like, you want to take that Colorado Rockies lineup, but you look at Clayton Kershaw like, ooh, that's really good. But then you have to realize, like, where you're pitching from. It's Colorado, so everything goes out the door at this point. But it is a good-looking lineup, and it continues to be a good-looking lineup for Colorado to score, not win games primarily, but score runs. Loved Washington yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4. They got 5+ hitters in the lineup tonight versus Sean Manaea. And Manaea struggles against right-handed batters. Went with him yesterday. I don't know if I'm going to get back to him today. Mets lineup, look, they should crack Mackenzie Gore, but they don't line up all that well. Alonso Vientos and Beatty. Everybody else really struggling with weighted on-base percentages. Sucks for the Mets right now. Can't just take them to go up against Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore's bad. Like, I have Mackenzie Gore listed as the 13th out of 14 pitchers today on the card. 6.46 ERA, 4.73 Sierra, 4.71 xFIP number. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Brutal. Anybody, by the way, take the Mets yesterday? Because I was doing BMR videos. I had the Athletics, which won. I had another big price on the Nationals, which ended up upbetting the Mets. But I thought it might have been one of those where the public would look like, Kodai Senga on the man, he can't lose today. Wow, I'm telling you, man, Washington presented itself very, very good yesterday. It was great. It was good. Yeah, Mets always seem like a no-bet. San Francisco, San Diego, Verlander on the mound look against a very good-looking San Diego team, by the way. Tatis, Arise, Machado, Bogarts, Sheets, Laureano, Cronenworth, and Fermin. All of them. That's 8 out of 9. Now, here's the issue that you have. Because sometimes you look at a lineup and say, I don't give a damn who that pitcher is. And Justin Verlander's on the mound. However, with Justin Verlander, his analytical numbers aren't that bad, guys. He's got a Sierra of 3.88. 4.01 xFIP, which isn't off the charts bad. ERA at 4. And if we look at his past couple starts here, let's go, Mr. Verlander. What do you have for me? Come on, Justin. All right, Justin's game log. 7 innings pitched, no earned runs. Blown up versus Washington. 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. But previously, 5 innings pitched, no earned runs. 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run. 5 innings pitched, no earned runs. What are we getting out of Verlander? Like, maybe the Giants score 1 run and you get lucky, but my goodness, that lineup looks tremendous for San Diego at 4 o'clock. Dylan Cease is always a fun pitcher, too, to try to handicap and break down. The analytics usually loves him. Just ERA hates him. That's a 4.10 start and almost a $2 price as a favorite for San Diego in that one. That's kind of cranky, man. That is kind of cranky. Don't love that game just from a standpoint where I don't think San Francisco's going to score, but it's the same thing. Like, you don't want to pay that higher price on San Diego. Minus 150 or less, maybe you're doing that. Boston and New York, here's an interesting one, guys. It is. You have, a red-hot Yankees lineup that has had 14 home runs in the past 2 nights. But they were playing down in Tampa. Heat, humidity, small ballpark, flies out. Donnie, they're going to New York. It's the same ballpark dimensions. I get it. But it's also surrounded by giant grandstands here. 69-degree temperatures as opposed to 85 to 86-degree temperatures. Getting on a plane and flying home. Lucas Giolito, he's my worst pitcher analytically on the card today. His Sierra is a 4.73. His xFIP is a 4.70. Good ERA. Slightly higher xFIP number at a 1.13. That lineup looks great for the Yankees, but is the hitting conditions enough to hold that up? Because Judge, Bellinger, Stanton, Rice, Chisholm, Volpe, and McMahon. That's 7 out of 9 at super plus numbers. Giolito gets banged on by left-handers. Grisham, Bellinger, Rice, Chisholm, McMahon will be lefties tonight. At least 5 probably out of the 9 batters. Boston side of things. Luis Gil's on the mound. Not a lot to go off of, but he hasn't been good since he's returned. Anthony, Bregman, Duran, Story, Abreu, Lowe. Decent numbers here. By the way, Carlos Narvaez, good power numbers, just not a good weighted on base percentage. But that's one where you're looking at, do I just fade the pitcher on the card? But also, can you back Luis Gil or fade Luis Gil? Because we haven't seen all that much. This one, Boston. Two bad pitchers here in this one, by the way. But I'm going to tell you about some of their statistics. Brandon Young, who last time we saw him against the Houston Astros, beat the hell out of him. Beat the hell out of him. Folks are selling Mets, it seems. Yeah, sold him yesterday, man. Beat him up a little bit. You look at the Astros lineup again today, going up against Brandon Young. Pena, Correa, Altuve, Sanchez, Walker, Caratini, Diaz. It presents itself decently. But Brandon Young just beat the hell out of them. Like, does that mean it's going to happen again? Like, oh, we just can't hit this guy and it's a wrap? Or they'd be like, that was a anomaly we have to get after. Because I did have an all-team total with Houston in that game and was dumbfounded by a bad pitcher in Brandon Young. Now, granted, when you last 45 days, when you have a start that good, your numbers come down. His ERA minus is a 129. That's terrible. We don't really like ERA too much, and it's a 522 overall. Sierra number is a little bit elevated, 4.14. XFIP at 4.06. K per 9 right around 8, which isn't bad. 72-degree temperatures, again, a little bit cooler on the East Coast with that hurricane rumbling off the coast. Wet and rainy where I am. Sun, I haven't seen the sun in like 2 days with all these clouds coming in. Jason Alexander, another not really that good pitcher, but a 2.56 ERA, a 63 ERA minus, very good FIP minus, and very good XFIP minus. Slightly higher Sierra number. Won't be playing that game, and it's a shame because that should be an environment in Baltimore that you really would want to play, but can't do it. The night game is one of the more interesting analytical games you're going to find. That's St. Louis and Tampa Bay. It's about a minus 120 price, let's call it, for St. Louis and Sonny Gray on the mound. Lineups today, we'll get to in a second, but look at the starting pitchers. Sonny Gray's number one on my card. But however, his ERA minus is 150. The baseline, guys, is 100. 150 is terrible. FIP minus is a 94, which is good because that's fielding independent pitching and sort of taking that on a ballpark thing. That doesn't count just fly balls. That's home runs that leave the yard. XFIP minus takes away the home runs and just wants to give you the fly balls. That's a 69. That's as good as it gets. Like pitchers that pitching with a 69 XFIP minus are some of the best in the league. Yet Sonny Gray has a 6.17 ERA over the past 45 days. Sierra number 3.07, the best on the card. XFIP 2.81, the best on the card. Not a great looking lineup for Tampa Bay today, to be honest. Just not. 85-degree temperatures, light wind blowing out tonight. You love to see it in Tampa. As you saw, the Yankees loved it because they hit 14 home runs the past 2 nights. That's something that's unheard of. That doesn't happen in baseball. But here's the dilemma again. Joe Boyle is a bad pitcher for me. 5.53 ERA over the past 45 days. XFIP minus 125 high. FIP minus 138 high. ERA minus 135 high. XFIP 520 worst on the card today, and a 4.72 Sierra. So I think that we should actually just get involved and be like, you know what? It's almost like you just have to fade the guy, but the lineup stinks out loud. But also, you're no longer in Miami, which, damn it, you ain't hitting that. But they actually had some good. Let me go with the St. Louis Cardinals. Like, let's just say you're all-team totaling the St. Louis Cardinals, right? Let's go back to that Yankees series. An all-team total would mean 2.5. They scored 3 runs, 8 runs, and 4 runs. Lost all those games. Let's see where we're going with that. Forget about winning games on the money line. Win games behind the line, which means, how many runs can you score? 8 runs against the Marlins, 4 runs against the Marlins, and then 2 runs last night. But by the way, Sandy Alcantara, getting back to his Cy Young level, it feels like, doesn't it? He's been really good over his past couple starts, but still scratched out 2 runs. Now you get out of the dome atmosphere in Miami and get into the heat and humidity of Tampa in a small ballpark, and things start to change. But the lineup doesn't look all that good. I would doubt that they get dominated by a guy like Joe Boyle, who's got the high ERA, the high Sierra, the high everything. So that's one that you might be like saying, all right, this is what we can have, and this is what we can do, and this is how we can play it. You get the point. But we got a game coming up at 1:10, which is roughly about 40 minutes away right now. I got to make some determinations because, as I said, I like the Athletics Minnesota game. I like the Texas Kansas City game. I don't like Milwaukee and Chicago. Colorado and Los Angeles probably going to be off my card. Minaya and Gore, I would love to take the Mets in this game, but their bats just aren't there just yet, against lefties particularly. Verlander is probably going to stay away. Alexander Young probably going to stay away. Boston and New York is intriguing to me, even though the temperature's a little bit cooler, and that line is dropping. 8.5s are out there. Now 8's mostly in the atmosphere if you're betting that total. And then St. Louis and Tampa Bay, which I do think is a very interesting game, particularly from the Cardinals side. So I got some decisions to make on the card today to see which one we're going to end up going with here. I want to make the right decision, but I did want to put on a show here until at least 25, 30 minutes where we stayed on to sort of get the vibes and the feel of the show. Love the chat box. You guys were awesome again today. I love the fact that I can just, look out there and knock things down and have some fun. Jennifer Kate. Hey, homie, I checked your video. Seems like you are new in Kick, not affiliated yet and verified. I got a proposal for you by sharing your stream to Kick community for you to gain 1,000 active audience and earn nothing less than 1,000. Why would they do hey, I got this for you? You just broadcast that. You want broadcast to people that actually are looking for content that you're actually doing. Hey, these bots watched your show. Who gives a damn about that? If nobody watched on Kick, nobody watched on Kick. Everybody watching here looks like 152 live, and 138 of those are watching live through X, which is the primary source for there. See what it is, but YouTube does have a couple viewers. YouTube videos will be put out. Football season is coming up shortly. I will be doing NFL shows as well, but I just like that afternoon action. It's fun because it's an afternoon baseball show. Well, it's at 4:00. You miss 5 games. You want to make sure you get all those games in, and with the way my schedule now is, I can certainly do that. So let's get some fun. Let's blast away. Let's get the kicker out here. Let's get some money together. Let's get no bad beats today. Let's have some fun. And let's get Pop smoking style, baby. Let's win some money today, people. Thanks for tuning into the show. And as always, tomorrow's a Friday. We'll do it again.